If you look at an astrology chart and are immediately overwhelmed, then this video is for you. I'm not here to turn you into an astrologer. This is merely giving you the information to empower you to pull different aspects from your chart to get information about it in your life, business, and relationships. Welcome to Frequency of Self, your go-to resource for the practical application of human design in life, business, and relationships. If you're ready to experience lasting transformation, hit subscribe. Now, typically this channel is about human design, and yet a cousin to human design is astrology. There are aspects of astrology used in human design. Whether you know what human design is or not, this video is going to break down the foundations of astrology. Now, there are many different schools of thoughts when it comes to astrology. The one that I will personally be taking in this video is psychologically based. I personally studied with Deborah Silverman, who really uses an astrology chart to look at your inner psyche and how your inner world works. It is fascinating and nothing short of profound. This is not doom and gloom forecasting your future type of astrology. So if that freaks you out like it freaks me out, you're in the right place. Today, I will be revealing where to pull your chart, what is in a chart, how to read a chart without interpreting it just yet, and point you to how to research specific aspects of your chart to be able to extract life-changing information from it. You can think of this video as teaching astrology literacy, not mastery. Part 1, where to pull your chart. There are so many different apps out there when it comes to astrology, and to this day, when I look at a lot of them, they're confusing. The one that I personally learned to work with and the one that I'm going to recommend to you is astro.com. This is a website, but you could pin it to your phone as an app as well, and you can pull a ton of charts in this. You're not going to hit your cap for a long period of time, and I'm going to specifically show you what aspects to pull when pulling a chart so that no matter what you study in the future or any of the videos that you watch on this channel, you'll be able to have the proper information on your chart when reading it. For now, you don't need to worry about what any of it means. I just merely want to show you how to pull your chart. Now, before I dive into this, I want to quickly explain the house system that I use. I like to use Placidus. You don't need to necessarily understand anything other than the fact that the house system that you use might impact different placements within your chart. For example, a lot of people today will use whole sign house system, which essentially makes every single house have one sign dedicated to it. If this does not make sense right now, I merely just want to introduce you to the idea of different house systems so that when you encounter it, you have a little bit of a foundation. Beyond that, don't worry, let's keep moving. Here's how you pull a chart. So in order to pull a chart, you're going to go to My Astro, you'll go to User Profile, you're going to click Add New Astro Data, you're going to plug in your birth info and click Continue. Once you have plugged in your data, you're going to select your name. Then you're going to go to this extended chart selection. Click on that, and for chart type, this is something that you don't need to understand, but in the future, this will give you everything that you need on one chart. And you'll hear me talk about certain aspects of this in the future videos. So you want to select natal, transits, and progressions combined. Then for house system, you'll click Placidus, True Node, Descending Node, Aspects to Chiron, 90 degrees, pull your chart. Part 2, what's in an astrology chart? There are 4 core components of any astrology chart. You have the planets, the signs, the houses, and the aspects. Now let's break down what those 4 components are by using the metaphor of watching a play unfold. This is how Deborah Silverman explained it to me, and it really lands, so giving her the credit for this analogy. And I'm also going to explain how it impacts your psyche or how it shows up in your practical everyday life so that this really lands in terms of why this is actually going to be valuable for your life. Because I'm all about that practical application. Click like if you are too. The first component is the planets. These are the actors on stage, and they're going to have different roles that they play. Now, in your psyche, these are the different characters or voices that kind of interact with you on a daily basis. For example, you have Mars, which is the planet of assertiveness, driving energy. It's going to show up when you are pursuing something that you want, versus Mercury, which is really just how your mind works and how you tend to communicate with other people. Compare that to Venus, which is really breaking down what you value in life. So think of all of these as actors on stage, and there are 10 of them. The second component is the sign, and this is the costume that the different actors are really wearing. And that really refers to how these actors have different characteristics or how they're going to show up within the role that they are playing. So let's give the example of Mars, that assertive, driving energy. It is going to be different if it's in the sign of Pisces versus Aries. Pisces is going to be a little softer, more poetic kind of nature to it, more emotional, versus Aries that is going to be very aggressive. It's going to be warrior-like energy in how it pursues what it wants. So once again, the sign is the costume, how that actor is going to show up as it presents itself on stage. The third component is the houses, and you can think about these as the stage where the actors and their costumes are showing up. So if you're watching a play, that play is going to unfold in various settings. For example, you have your home life versus your public life. You have the area of relationships and how you show up there versus how you assert yourself and how you view yourself or how other people view you. These are all the different houses, and what you have, the planet and the sign that you have within that house, is going to impact how you show up in that area. So using the example that we've been building upon, if you look at Mars in Pisces, that is going to be different in the 4th house versus the 10th house. The 4th house is going to be for your home life. So this person might be highly poetic in what they put on the walls. They're really trying to create a spiritual sanctuary. They want to have a sense of security and peace with those people in their environment, and they might have highly intense emotions in order to make sure they get what they want in that environment. That is very different than someone that has this in the 10th house, where that's going to show up in their public life in terms of how they show up in business, how they show up as a leader. They're going to be compassionate, soulful, and also really make sure that they create that culture within their workspace. The fourth component is aspects, and you can look at this as the relationship between actors on stage. So you have all of these 10 characters, and they're going to have either a challenging dynamic between them or a really enjoyable kumbaya type nature between the two. And if you're using astro.com, this is one of the reasons why it's nice to have one system that you are using whenever you're reading charts. You're going to notice that there are red lines and blue lines between the planets. Those are what we call aspects. In short, the red lines between planets are going to indicate areas of growth. This is where the inner actors within your psyche don't really get along, and so there's a natural conflict that causes you to grow and become more conscious in order to resolve that inner conflict that you feel. Compare this to the blue lines that are more of a natural, harmonious relationship, but often these can be overlooked because we take them for granted or assume that other people have them too. And yet, these are your gifts. These are areas where you experience ease, and leaning into them can be really beneficial in life. Part 3, how to read your chart. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I don't want to teach you how to read your chart and interpret it in this video. That would make this video way too long. And ultimately, we live in the age of AI. You can go to Google, type in different activations, and it will create an immediate interpretation of that for you, or go to ChatGPT and do the same thing. So ultimately, what I want to do is teach you how to pull out specific activations within your chart so that you know what to then research to better understand yourself and how your psyche works. I also want to call out that I will create future videos where I mention different aspects of your astrology chart, and by understanding how to pull the information out of your chart, you'll be able to track with me in those other videos. So if you're into that, be sure to subscribe for future videos. Now, here's what you need to know. You need to know how to spot different placements in your chart. And in order to do this, you need to know how to read the sign, the planet, and the house. For now, we're going to throw aspect out the window because it's a more complicated layer that actually might create more confusion. So let's just stick to the basics of sign, planet, and house. Now, in order to do this, you're going to need to understand how to read the symbols on the chart. Fortunately, it's a quick Google away, or you can screenshot what I'm about to show you. You have 12 signs, and each of these 12 signs have a symbol. You also have 10 planets. Each of these 10 planets have a symbol. And the easiest thing to spot is the houses. This is 1 through 12 moving counterclockwise through the chart. One thing I want to quickly explain that was very confusing to me when I was first learning astrology is that the signs themselves are going to move. That is what is going to consistently move in the chart. The houses are always in the same place, and it's the signs that are moving around it depending on when you are born. So once again, let's simplify this. You look at the planet that you want to study, let's say the sun. Then you look at the sign that it is in, as well as the house number. So for example, here is my sun in Scorpio in the 10th house. Once you know how to pinpoint your placements, you're ready for interpretation. Part 4, interpret your chart. Now, as I've already mentioned, I'm not going to break down interpretation in this video, but rather give you an idea of where to start when looking at different placements in your chart. Because as a beginner, it all looks like gibberish. So I'm going to give you 5 things that you can start with, pull out of your chart, and then go look up to learn about yourself. The first thing to look at is your sun, moon, and rising sign. Here's how you spot it. Your sun looks like a circle with a dot in it. You find that, find the sign, find the house that it's in. Your moon looks like a moon on the chart. Same situation for that. Then you find your rising sign. This is always going to be marked with AC on the left side of your chart. You look at what sign is right where that AC is. In short, your sun is how you express yourself, your moon is how your emotions operate, and your rising sign is often what other people see when they first interact with you. The combination of all 3 of these is really the foundation when beginning to understand your astrology chart, which is why we started here. So if I was interpreting my chart, I would type in, what does it mean to have sun in Scorpio, moon in Cancer, and Capricorn rising? And you'll get a nice little breakdown of that. The second thing to look at is the elemental breakdown part of your chart. This is fascinating and really begins to show you where you are a little bit off in terms of balance in your life. Think about the 4 elements as 4 wheels on a tire. If you have one that is really swayed, then your tire or your car is going to kind of wobble forward. And so sometimes it can be helpful to look at the elemental breakdown of your chart in order to understand where you need to balance different areas of your life. So for example, I am someone that does not have that much fire in my chart. And so I need to learn to cultivate fire in my life to make sure that the water doesn't kill the energy within myself. Now, to dive deeper into this, you're welcome to dive into Deborah Silverman's stuff. She is all about the 4 elements. I just want to introduce you to the topic because it was really interesting for me. The third thing to look at is the house that your sun is in. This is really interesting and reveals the brightest area of your life. The sun represents your core identity, and the house is once again the stage where that core identity is primarily going to play out. For example, I have my sun in the 10th house, so business and public persona is a big part of my life. Accepting that about me and not trying to fight it or make myself wrong for being too much in that area has been very relieving and life-changing. I hope you experience the same when you look at what house your sun is in. In fact, share that in the comments below. I would love to see what lands and if that feels accurate for you. The 4th place that you want to look is Saturn. This is going to reveal the life lesson that you are here to learn, and it can be incredibly insightful when you look at the planet placement, the sign, and the house associated with it. So for example, I have Saturn in the 1st house in Aquarius. Google that and see what it means. The 5th place to look is at your south and north nodes. Now, these are not technically planets, but it does dictate a trajectory that your life is here to take. So you'll look at the south node as what you're really comfortable with, that you came into this lifetime having a lot of experience in that area, and your north node as something that you're moving towards, an area that you're going to have to grow in as you age throughout your life. Now, if you're like me and you're Googling this stuff while also watching watching this video and you have major ahas or insights, I would love to hear them. Go ahead and share those in the comments below and we can nerd out together. You've made it this far in the video, so go ahead and drop a planet emoji in the comments below to show me that you did. And if you'd like to continue learning about this subject, I will definitely be touching upon this in the future. If I've already created those videos, I will have a playlist linked here for you to watch next. Or if you want to join my world and learn more about human design and that transformative system for self-acceptance and creating less resistance in your life, then please be sure to check that out. I will have a beginner playlist on the screen here. Either way, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.